Welcome to the first ever team casted game on the channel. So on the north side of Dry Arabia in the green we have 25 centimeters AoE4. We're going to call 25 for this game as the Ottomans, and we also have Vardalord, we're going to call Lord, in the yellow as the Byzantines. On the south side in the pink we have Fury's Mom 2103, and we as the Sushi's Legacy, and we have Whamen on 200 ping in the purple as HRE. So Fury's Mom is Boii, and Whamen on 200 ping is Whamen. Both of these guys stream. If you know about Age of Empires, you'll know Whamen because she's been setting up tournaments, she streams, everyone does that. So this is going to be a really exciting game. And if you're interested in me casting more team games, let me know in the comments. It's the first time I'm giving this a go, so we're just going to see how it all goes. Let's take a little look at the scouting path for these players. So if we look at team number one at the top, they've gone right in the center and now circling around, so they're really going to try and cover all of their side. So there's a couple of black spots being missed, but if we take a look, there's a couple of sheep on both sides. And then if we switch over to Whamen's side, they've done basically exactly the same. So Whamen has got a huge haul of sheep there. She's got an absolute ton, and as HRE that's going to work fantastically well for her. Boii also done pretty well, so it looks like they're definitely onto a winner. So if we have a think about this matchup while we watch these guys set up, this is going to be really interesting because Sushi can do a lot of different things. It can do one of the quickest fast castles in the game and then get the monks out, those Shaolin monks, and go out and get loads of relics. And obviously being a team game there are more relics up for grabs, but they could also do the heavy feudal Shuganu rush, so their eco with that meditation gardens can be absolutely insane. Whereas the HRE also can now, with the free marching drills, have seen huge success with that feudal all-in, with the Archon being dropped on the woodline there. Potentially we are going to see some feudal play, and which obviously a lot of people have seen the Beastie video, Beastie obviously being Whamen's husband, so this potentially, maybe she's using the Beastie build. We'll have to wait and see. With the Ottoman side, they did get a slight buff this season. We can see some stone being gathered up here, so this could potentially be for a TC or be setting up those military schools in the feudal age. So they did get a slight buff to the production speed of their military schools, so they might be going for feudal or just going for that fast castle so they can start producing those gold units for free, and they get the free siege, which obviously is one of the huge powerful things that the Ottomans can do. We can see the classic minaret madress being used here to get that secure food, which is pretty much what everyone does these days. And if we take a look over the Byzantines, we can see the classic winery being built. And this is really quite interesting because the Byzantines and the Ottomans tend to be very, very aggressive, and they can produce a huge amount of units, and also Zushi and HRE can also do the same. So I think this is going to be really exciting to see what everyone does. So we're going to see the AG ops coming through. We can see the meditation gardens here. This is going to be a really juicy one. So we've got food, we've got stone, and we've got gold. So it's going to give Boii the flexibility there to do whatever he wants with those resources. It's quite forward, but with the map being a bit larger, it's fine. And to be honest, keeping that meditation gardens in a good spot is really the priority. You don't need to be super defensive with that one because it's really about that early boost to your economy. So we can see the Archon Chapel is just about to go up. That prelate's going to jump in there in a second, and then we can see whether there's any production being built or whether it's going to be a fast castle play. So it looks like the split being moved across, a lot of villagers coming over to gold and a lot of guys going over to sheep, so I think we're going to be seeing a fast castle from these guys. If we take a look over at the Byzantines, we can see a couple on gold, 3 on gold, which is the standard opening here, which is going to allow our Byzantine player Lord to get his eco techs. We can see wheelbarrow in, which is the classic build at the moment on the ladder. So this is going to be really interesting. We can see the Merc House going down to see which he goes for. Maybe it would be Keshiks because the map is a bit larger, so cavalry in team games tends to be pretty good, but we're just going to have to wait and see whether he's going to go for heavy aggression or change. Oh, the Arcatoid defense getting the scout there. Whamen scout going down. A fantastic little pick off there for Lord, and now the scout's down. That's going to be really bad for their team with less vision on what their opponents are doing. If we take a look over, we can see the first military school going up. We do see a lot of stone in the bank, but it's not enough for a TC, so I imagine we're going to be seeing the other things going up. We can see also on the upgrades that we've gone for the longbows, which is always, I think, the all-rounder contract, which is really, really good. There's no night civs on the other team, so I would say doing that is pretty safe, because you can also kite Chuganu with that, but going javelins if you saw huge Chuganu rush coming is always a good idea. If we take a look on Boi's side, we don't see any production yet. He's gone for the Jannang Tower, so he's in the Song Dynasty, which means his eco buildings are going to be cheaper and he'll get free military units from production. So it looks like we're going to see the 2 TC play from him, and that stone from the Meditation Gardens is really going to help with that cause. If we take a look at the resources now, it looks like Whamen is very quickly moving up to the Castle Age, a huge amount on sheep, and no farms down just yet. So is she going to get the scout just out of range? So this is really good. I think if we move over to her vision, there we go. Yeah, the gold's just out of range, so obviously you've got the gathering up there, but maybe just shifting it over you could have got that as well. But you know, that's a pretty juicy spot for all that wood, for all the production buildings and farms you're going to need a little bit later on. We can see 2 military schools coming up and spears in queue, so no there we go. So you would expect potentially Sipahi at this stage, but it looks like they are selected, so whether that's going to pop in once the first spear is out, I'm not sure exactly how the queues of the military schools work on this vision. So we would imagine you're going to be seeing Sipahi, there is a spear in queue there, and the blacksmith is up, which obviously gives the buff to these for that production speed. So these guys, both of these players, the Ottomans and the Byzantines, do get increased production speed for their units. Groves going down, which are fantastic value, even with the nerf they got where they're slightly more expensive. They still give you the olive oil, so they're really good around that winery and they can really boost your food eco. The scout going in there and noticing the regnits going up, 7-minute age up. This is going to be a really fast timing and being able to secure those relics. And looking at the relic spawn, Whamen's going to have an absolute field day. She's got one safe here at the back, one here across the front, and she can also work her way very easily over to these two. So I'd be surprised if she doesn't get 3 at least. If we take a look at Fury's side, he's also going for a fast castle. We can't see any production, a couple on wood to keep things popping, but we can see a lot on gold and that 2 TC now, so his eco is really going to start going crazy. Both of the other players not going for 2 TC, but it looks like Lord has seen that coming and he's also going for the Castle Age. So we're seeing relatively slow action at the start. Obviously the Ottomans take a little bit of time to set up, and we can see the first Vizier point popping in, or one of the first going. So we've gone for the Anatolian Hills, which gets those extra 8 sheep. And technically this has been nerfed this season because of the change to the amount of food you get for your sheep. Now, if we look over here, we can see there's a men-at-arms there. The longbow's getting caught out, and they're trying to get to the prelate. They're trying to deny those relics, but they're going to have to kite like crazy to get away from that men-at-arms. And Whamen doing a great job of using the stealth forest to stay away. So these longbows having to move away now. And are they going to catch the prelate on the run? Let's see. If we go over to Whamen's side, we are going to be seeing more prelates in queue. So prelate has gone down. Nice little defense there. So a Wallalol coming up on the other side, and that's Whamen going for a second relic there, and a single archer is going to be taking that one out. So another relic defense there for Lord. So we can see these longbows are really camping on these, and this is something really good that definitely, if you can see a HRE player going for the relics, being able to deny them early and just slow them down is fantastic. If you can keep those relics as well, that's really, really good. So that prelate going down, another relic back on the field, and there's a scout trying to do some damage. So if these longbows can pop over, they can also do a lot of damage to Boii, or to Fury's mum, however you want to call him. So the dangerous thing now is both of Whamen and Boi's team, they're both in the Castle Age, so they're going to be able to get those heavy armoured units out, and so the longbows are going to be able to do a huge amount of damage. If we pop over to we pop over to the Ottoman side, we can see his production's getting all set up, and he's getting closer to the castle age, but he's probably going to be the last one up, and I imagine we're going to see the Golden Horn at the back over here. So we definitely want to see that Golden Horn put in the influence to make sure that you get that buff. When it's fully buffed up, it's worth about 8 villagers, so that's really, really good value. The archer here camping this relic to make sure that Whamen doesn't get it, and we can see here that we've got the Sipahi force guarding this one here. So far it doesn't look like Whamen's managed to secure any relics, and she's just building up some spears and men-at-arms at the front. So these guys being hyper aggressive, and it's really working for them so far. If we check out on Boi's side, we've got a load of stables going heavily into Lancers and Horsemen, so this is really going to put a stop to these couple of longbows getting caught out of position there, and that's going to free up this relic for one of the two players to nick. So we can see now that we've also got the Castle Age come through for the Byzantines, so they're going to be able to upgrade their mercenary contract, and oh, but they're housed. Oh no! So this is the problem with the mercenaries as well. So we can see these horsemen and lancers doing huge damage. They're getting caught by a spear, but one spear against those is not going to be enough. And we can see also a scholar running out. Is he going to get caught out by Boii? Is he going to see it? Not quite. But he is going to be able to get some raiding off. This is the thing you need to be careful of the Byzantines when you have these units. There's 5 longbows that want to come out, and they need 5 spaces, so you need to make sure you've got a ton of houses down, because now the longbow contract is actually blocking the mercenary upgrade, which means the longbows you have on the field also can't get upgraded, so this is really bad. Food eco idle for Warden, and we can see also a big fight coming down here on the longbows, and they've been caught out, so only denying those relics for a short time, and need to start getting some forces down there. We can see the raids working really well, more longbows popping out, and then as there's some damage done, they've been able to just get enough, but we need to see some houses, and now Boyle have seen that relic going down. So there's a Wallalol kicked off somewhere. Where are we? Can we see it? Over here. It must be this one. And she got a Sipahi for it. Oh, fantastic. So that prelate is going to be going down, but she did get some value by stealing one of the Sipahi. The other relic is going up, and so now it's either going to be able to be put in the Regnitz or in some of the defensive buildings. So if we take a little look at both of the setups now, we can see there's lots of infantry for Whamen, and with those marching drills, that's a really good thing to be having. And then it looks like Boi's going heavy into cavalry and then also into siege. So if we don't see some Nest of Bees here, I'm going to be very, very surprised. So the Sipahi force coming in, but getting caught out by the HRE infantry, taking out those spears, and then slowly whittling down those men-at-arms, but needing to be very careful that they don't get absolutely skewered by those spears. We can see on the top side the Byzantine force coming out, spears, crossbows and longbows coming to try and get this relic. One scholar getting caught out and a second one behind to try and catch them. All the villagers pulling back now defensively to try and not take too much damage. So it looks like we can see that our 25 friend Ottomans are now in the Castle Age, and now he's got that monk. That's it. Run straight back, get that back to the winery to get that oil eco pumping. We can see some HRE units now streaming across, only a couple of these guys, and this is something I think the Whamen's doing really well here, is using a couple of units to put that pressure on. You don't have to have 100 before you can start doing some raiding, and the HRE guys can run so quickly, it's going to be really, really nice. So Vardalord is running and putting some pressure on Boii, going to get caught under that TC fire and noticing that now. So this is where the danger is. If Boii's allowed to build his eco and continue getting that villager lead, then these other guys are going to be in real trouble. So also Vardalord getting housed again. That's the thing with all the oil and the mercenaries, and a big push here and a nice defense here from 25, stopping those cavalry units coming in and doing too much damage to the Byzantines. Assistant on the Golden Horn Tower, which is really great, but we need to see some houses going down. They got border settlements, which means they get additional vision and they are produced more quickly, but we need to be really careful of that. We can see that we've got a load of archers come through. I never realised how cool the Ottoman archers look. And there we go, the cavalry coming in, the archers focus firing on those spears, and the Sipahi are going to do huge damage to those men-at-arms. And this is actually really good for the Ottomans, because the HRE men-at-arms, they don't have heavy maces yet, because normally you can see the model changes, but when they get that, the lancers do take additional damage, so doing it this way I think is really good. We can see Whamen is coming up here to secure resources. She's got another relic in the bag. So if we take a look at her base, we can see 2 in the Regnets, 1 chilling by this tower, waiting to go in the defensive tower. And we can also see 1 here. So now she's almost on 5 relics. So it looks like Boii's been helping her out and giving her a little bit of a relic haul. As I thought, we'd be seeing some Nest of Bees because that is the ultimate unit killer. When you get a lot of these, they are like mangonels, but they do damage to all units equally. So they can destroy siege, they can destroy everything when you get a mass of them, so that's really, really dangerous. If we take a look at the Byzantine forces up here, we can see the classic composition: crossbow, Varangian guard, Limitanei, and longbows. So this infantry composition is really good, but with some Nest of Bees on the way, all of these units are going to have to be really, really careful. We don't see any siege with them just yet, and that could potentially be quite dangerous. And here we go, a big fight coming out for Boii and the Byzantines, but look at that shot, and that's huge damage. Look at those units going down, and the cavalry doing a great job of defending those Nest of Bees, and this is where they've got to be really careful. Those spears being taken out, and now they have no front line, and they're going to have to run back to safety. Boii not pushing the point and taking damage, but doing a huge little bit of damage there. Whamen still pushing on the Ottoman base there, denying that gold and stone on that left hand side, and also pushing on some of these units at the front, so putting a nice bit of pressure on around the TC. We can see a mangonel sitting casually there. Is he going to get a shot off? Ooh, just a little one off the back there, and we can see that all the Sipahi are streaming back to the base to do that. But this, now all of these units being used together, I do this all the time, we can see them moving quite slowly. But if we head over here, we can see another big push with Boii and the Byzantines. It looks like it's a one-on-one kind of situation, and the Nest of Bees a huge kill on the crossbows, and so these lancers are now shredding through it, and there's only longbows there, and they are amazing, but they're just not going to be able to do the damage that's needed against those cavalry units. Taking out the spears, but the Nest of Bees a huge catch again, and as these Nest of Bees numbers grows, there's 3 now, this infantry is really going to look quite scary. So Springald's are going to have to come out, or they're in real trouble. If we take a little look over now, we can see the Ottoman forces are gathering up, ready for a push, and Whamen has been cleared out in the Ottoman base, apart from a couple of spears causing some chaos. So if we have a look, we're still only on system level 3 for Vorderlord. He definitely needs to get a couple of other systems up, because when you get that to level 5, that production boost of 100% makes a huge difference. It also buffs up your eco to 28%. So 28%, 24%. Don't trust my maths. If you watch the channel, you know my maths is terrible, but it buffs your eco. You want to be getting that eco buff. All of these groves are going to be making that oil eco go really high, almost 500 a minute, which means 5 longbows every minute, which is fantastic. But no siege workshops yet, so I'd be really scared of going up against those Nest of Bees without the siege. The Ottomans will have it, but do we have any Springalds coming in? It's only mangonels being produced at the moment, but with a huge production base there for the Ottomans, so we're going to be seeing a lot of units. Big clash here. Oh, and a tower going up to block these golds, and the infantry being taken out by the Nest of Bees. Spears bracing, but the and the villagers going into the keeps to do even more damage. One Nest of Bees is going to be taken down. Can the cavalry defend the other ones? We'll have to wait and see. Another one being pulled back, and it looks like Berserk's been pulled on the Varangian to try and do that damage, but just been taken out, and a huge pop off there. And the Ottomans are coming in on the side and going to clean up those Nest of Bees caught out of position there. So a huge loss there for Boii, but a huge battle, a huge loss also for the Byzantines. That keep is doing a lot of damage to those Sipahi, and you really don't want to be fighting under those Zushi keeps. So now that's both huge side, and Whamen again, while the units are away, she's coming into the base to play, and she's doing a huge amount of damage here, keeping them off the gold, and this is really hurting the eco. If you see here, only 24 gold, 29 gold, lots of food, lots of wood, but you're going to need the gold to get those units out, so you want to keep pumping. This is a huge amount of food here. Whether he's aiming to get to Imperial, we'll have to wait and see, but Whamen has done it first. While she's pushing around the base, she's hit Imperial, and there's some Byzantine towers being put all over the map, but the Zushi has caught them out while they're doing it. So now all of these units, everyone is going to know that Whamen is in Imperial and she has the Swabia, so her villagers are going to really pump, and she's getting so much gold, and when we see Tithe bars come through, she's going to get a huge eco boost. We can see her infantry have circled around and now attacking the Byzantines. Only one tower, so there's only so many villages you can protect with that, and these units, look at the damage they're taking there, which is absolutely insane. Just the TC's firing and doing no damage, so defensive units are needed. There we go, some archers and crossbows are exactly what you need, but taking a huge villager damage there, and it doesn't look like anywhere near the Imperial Age now, so if Whamen can get those upgrades in, she's going to be able to really stomp through these Castle Age units. We can see a contingent of cavalry coming from Boii and clashing in the middle, cataphracts and horsemen against these lancers. Not too many spears, but there's a couple of crossbows in the back, and Boii having to retreat to the castle. Doing a really nice job here of trying to pull those units to a place where it's really good for him to fight. Fighting under this keep is fantastic for him. He can load it up with those villagers, and then it actually just does a huge amount of damage. It looks like Boii's doing his farm transition at the back and taking out those towers, also hitting the Imperial Age now, so it looks like the other team potentially are going to be in a really big sticky point if they're not in Imperial soon, because the eco is going to kick off, and they do have the units to defend at their moment. So we can see huge farm transition here for Boii at the front, another one at the back, so his food eco is going to be absolutely going crazy, which means he's going to be able to produce all of those units, Imperial units he wants. So the Ottomans now coming out and moving towards Whamen, trying to get some damage in, and she's retreating back to the safety of her tower defense game that she's got set up ready to go. All of the relics have been moved out of the Regnit, so I imagine they're going to be in towers all over her base to protect all of those resources, so we can see them all over there for extra vision and damage. So coming in, trying to get that defensive tower, but looking at this, all the infantry there going to clean up those cavalry, and now going to be in a really sticky spot, fighting under this sprinkled tower with that relic. Does a huge amount of damage, and the Ottoman forces are going down so quickly, and reinforcements coming in, but the Sipahi being cleaned up, and now the front lines moved away. Those archers are going to get caught out, and more knights coming in, so pulling the spears away there, trying to avoid the damage, but they're going to have to take a tactical retreat. We can see some raiding units over on Boii's side trying to get villagers, but the lancers are there to defend, and the clash, the Ottomans are trying to run away but getting caught on that wood line, and look at the damage here that HRE is doing. These Landsknecht are absolutely bolting over there. They should join the Olympics because they are absolutely sprinting, and the Ottomans running away. This is where somebody gave me some really good tips to surrender a couple of these units. If these are just A-moved, take a couple of the back units, put them to attack and run all the other ones forward. Also select your horses and run them away. They run away quicker. It's better to lose 5 or 6 of your ranged units and save the rest. But pulling the reinforcements back, a Mango there, focusing on the cavalry, not getting the infantry, and those units are going to circle around and be able to get rid of that siege. So not protecting that, that's going to be a really bad spot. That Mangonel might be free, but it could have done a huge amount of damage and really put a stop to this HRE infantry ball. We can see over on the other side a huge fight over on the keep. Let's pull this away. We can see the nest of bees there. Is Boii going to be able to keep that keep up? We've got some trebuchets in the back that are sieging it down over here, and no Greek fire yet because we're not in Imperial, and this is going to be able to try and keep that keep up. Berserk being pulled to try and do as much damage as possible, but it looks like that keep is going to go down, but the nest of bees doing a huge amount of damage to these rage units. The front line completely gone now, and the cavalry is going to be able to clean up these longbows without much trouble at all. And Boii's, he's managed to keep the keep up, he's still repairing, and the cavalry coming in. Look at these longbows getting absolutely shredded by Nest of Bees. Oh, that's a huge fight, and the cavalry running straight past them, straight to the trebuchets, and the Nest of Bees cleaning up all of those longbows, trying to do the last bit of damage they can, but that's basically the Byzantine forces absolutely decimated. And 25 surrendered at the same time. A huge fight at the end for both players, taking out each of their respective opponents to the end. What a fantastic clash. And here we are just before GG was called to take a little look at the overall state of play and how all of the game went, things that could have gone slightly differently. So if we zoom out, bring up the interface and give it a little pause. Where's the button? There we go. It's always weird with team games that you can't have the official caster thing. So if we take a little look at the bases, the Ottoman had a huge setup of production, which is exactly what you want to be seeing in these team games to pump out those units. So I think the setup there was really good. Now, Whamen was continuously hitting this gold on this side, and I think this is something that was potentially very dangerous. So if we have a look at the resources, he's got a lot of gold now, and if we take it over to his side, so he's not aging up yet to Imperial, while Whamen and Boii are both in Imperial, but basically not being able to defend this gold and this stone very early has caused a lot of problems throughout this entire game. So looking at this, some early walls across here, just a little one, and one just across here to secure this other gold probably would have been quite good. Then they also have the back line. They could also set up some trade because that market's pretty good for trade there, and also maybe potentially even dropping a keep over here somewhere to get both of these golds, or even these two like this. That could have worked really well, just like Boii did over here with this keep here that secured up and blocked both of these golds, so it stopped Warlords from moving forward and getting the gold, because all of the gold spawned forward for him apart from this back one he's working on now. So it also came down to this big fight here with Whamen with the HRE, where most of those units got caught out, and then slowly retreating they just got whittled away, and they didn't have the defense to do it. And now with Whamen in Imperial, if we take a look at hers, we can see the cannon emplacements coming in and all of those Imperial units pumping, so her eco is going absolutely insane. If you think she's got 1254 gold a minute because of all those relics, and Tithe Barns is in, so all those relics are also going to be boosting her food. So with all these Archon farms and stuff, that the HRE machine is fully pumping at this stage, and there's only 86 villagers, but with that Swabia printing them out, that's going to be over 100 in seconds. So I think it's worked really well, actually, that both players ended up kind of doing a bit of 1v1 and a little bit of raiding so they could focus their attention. But I think this also caused a problem for for Lord, let's say, because he took a lot of fights under this keep. So Boii put this keep up, which blocked these units, and then he did a great job of choosing the fights carefully to make sure that he didn't take too much damage. When this keep first went up, he lost most of his units, and the Ottomans came over to do a huge amount of damage. But being able to defend that and pulling the units into that keep just meant that he was always in a favourable position. And having those nest of bees really made such a huge difference, because if we also take a look, he was on 2 TC, so his villagers, he was already over 100, full Zushi farm transition with the granary, so his food eco is also insane. So if you think both of these players are on 2k food, if we take a look over here, they're only on 1k, so the difference is absolutely massive. And so Vodalord went for siege, he went for trebs, but he had no springolds, so the Mr. Bees were just going to do that. In a minute, where I've paused just before it, the big fight at the end that we watched took place here. You wouldn't actually take the fight under the keep. What you want to be doing is trebbing it down, and then once the keep is down, then you want to fight there. There's no reason to bring all of your army and fight under the keep, because you're just taking tons of damage. So that, I think, was the big push there, which didn't quite pay off for Warlord. If we take a little look at his base, he doesn't have a huge amount of production. Obviously, you get the Byzantine production buff, but you definitely want to be seeing more production like we've got over here. Also, more groves being set up for that food eco would have been really helpful, but the main thing that's really slowing his economy is the cisterns. He has enough stone. If we have a look, he's got 350, so he's got enough for the last two, or at least the last one, and then with some more groves it would be very easy to get that. So I would have seen maybe one going down the back over here, and then also maybe one just over here near the market, and you could put your merc houses there, because even if you don't want these neutral mercs, which in this matchup you don't, you still get the 50% production boost by putting your merc houses around this. Then with the cistern at 150%, it stacks, so you can spend that oil really, really quickly. We do see he got 2 relics, so that's pretty decent. Whamen got 5, I think, from looking at her base, so that's why her gold eco is absolutely insane. They did a fantastic job. Both Lord and 25 did a great job of denying those relics early, but in the end Whamen was still able to get them, and so that's why her eco really kicked off. But I think in this case also Vardalor did a great job of denying these resources with the relic very early and pushing Boii back into his base, and luckily Boii was able to defend and then push back out. So early on it looked like they had the advantage, and Whamen and Boii really focused on that defense and got it in. One thing I do like to see, if we take a look at the vision, we can see that Lord was taking advantage of the houses with border settlements to get that vision all the way around the side of the map. He also tried to get a tower, but this is giving him vision on what's happening around key resources. So this is something really nice that he's done. Because they build so quickly, it's like a tower without the defense for 50 wood, so it's always a decent thing to be looking at. But I think the composition here of mass infantry against Nest of Bees is always very dangerous, and no Springald's is really, I think, the big problem that he had. Obviously, the Ottomans can produce their siege for free. He went fully mangonels and had no Springald's either, so the mangonels were able to try and do damage against HRE, but as we saw in the final defense at the base, those were taken out very, very easily. So I think lack of defenses and securing resources for the Ottomans, the not having the siege for them and taking some terrible fights under this keep really swung it massively in their favour. And so Boii and Whamen sitting in Imperial, loving life and taking the win. But I hope you've enjoyed this game. It was full of fantastic action, and if you want to see more team games, then let me know in the comments and I will supply. But have a great day whatever you're doing, and I'll see you next time for some more Age of Empires action.